Hi, everybody. Thank you for seeking out this PowerPoint on legal or illegal picks. My name is Barb Martinicchio. I am from New York State, and I am a certified trainer for U.S. Lacrosse. And I have this PowerPoint presentation that we put together actually for LaxCon in Philadelphia. So I do want to give a huge shout out to Lissa Fickert, who uh, helped me build the PowerPoint and presented it at LaxCon in Philadelphia in January. It is pretty much the same PowerPoint, I guess, that we presented. I did tweak it by putting some things in it and taking some things out of it. But tonight, when we sit down, or today, whenever this you listen to it, uh, we're going to be looking at it wholeheartedly at the high school level, high school and youth lacrosse. I did take out the NCAA part of it, so I want you to put on your high school hat when you're going through this PowerPoint. I am happy to let you know that this will be under an hour, so I'm going to be quick and nimble getting through it, so just don't get too comfortable. What is a pick in the game of girls lacrosse anyways? I know that a lot of us will hear coaches comparing it to basketball, a basketball pick. I don't watch basketball. I'm sorry to say. I don't mean to offend anybody. I'm not a really big basketball watcher, and that would mean that I don't officiate it either. But our pick is compared quite often to the basketball pick. So a lot of times people are confused when we set a pick a certain way and they don't understand how that's not illegal. So first things first, I'd like to pretend that you've never officiated girls lacrosse before and this is your first year. So I will simplify it that we're looking and discussing it in the eyes of a beginner. And to have a little fun with this, I put together some pictures of some picks. So let's look at the pictures here and see when the right pick pops up. You can pick which one you think we're going to be talking about tonight. And while you're sitting there for a minute, I got a little song that goes along with all my lovely pictures of picks. One of these things is not like the others. One of these things doesn't belong. Can you tell which thing is not like the other by the time I finish this song? So I had fun putting that whole little thing together there for you. I hope that this is the picture that you picked. For picked. Get it. Anyway, I hope this is the picture that you chose as to what we're going to be discussing tonight. This is a perfect picture of, if done legally and with the correct criteria, it's exactly what a pick should look like, and thus number 22 has freed up number 1, excuse me, to hopefully go to goal and score a goal. So this photo clearly shows how an off-ball teammate on the offensive team has positioned herself in the pathway of the defender, so it may free up her teammate with the ball by slowing up or changing the direction of the defender. When this is done correctly, it could lead to a successful offensive scoring play. So let's talk legal picks. A player may occupy a legal position on the field and have a right to that position, provided that the pick is set within the visual field of the opponent or allows enough time and space to stop or change direction. The visual field is defined as 180 degrees using the player's head, nose, as a point of reference, not the player's shoulders. So if I were sitting facing my computer here and my shoulders were lined up at 180, my nose is straight ahead at 90. My visual field stems from my nose, from my left and to my right. If I were to turn my head but leave my shoulders where they're at, then that would change the visual field. Okay. So let's determine it as to where my head is and not so much my shoulders, which has been another form of confusion when determining the pick. Let's also know that a pick may be stationary or it may be moving. I know that a coach, again, will always shout out that that was a moving pick. But remember that a pick can be moving. And as long as the pick is being set, giving time and space for the defender to make a different move or go a different way, then it would be legal. As the coach is screaming out, that's moving, that's a moving pick. Yes, coach. A moving pick is legal in our game as long as the player gives the opponent time and space to adjust. So we officials are not blessed with the gift of knowing when a pick will be set, but we can educate ourselves to officiate them correctly and train ourselves to what to look for. And what to look for is what we're going to go over next. We're going to look for their stance, their movement, and time and space. Okay? The stance. The player's stance should be that of a player setting their body in a way that she can maintain her spot. This is what we would maybe call like an athletic stance. She knows she might encounter contact, so instead of being straight up, like, say, a pole or whatever, and her feet touching together, she will be more like slightly spread out and ready. As long as she doesn't make herself, say, bigger and wider than an unnatural margin, then that's legal. So let's make sure we're not like over evaluating, like being too picky about focusing so much on like how big she is. Let's just look at it like in an athletic stance. She might be a little wider than her shoulders, but as long as she's like not moving, adjusting, making herself bigger into the pathway of the defender, then we're going to allow for that. It's when she's stretched out with her elbows, her legs, or her stick. Or, like I said, she's made her move at the last minute into the path of the defender. Those components of a quote-unquote moving pick are, in fact, illegal. Okay? She can set her stance and be there, but she can't decide to make a move at the last minute in the pathway of the defender and not allowing time and space. So on the right-hand side of this slide, if a player were trying to get around number 9 and her right leg was stretched out, her leg might be there, but plus moving it into the path of the defender could possibly make this illegal. So still photos are hard to assess and know whether or not something would be legal or illegal in this case scenario. 13 has set a perfect pick with her body and stick and everything about her. Okay, perfect meaning that if she gave enough time and space for number 26 to come around as blue is following her, it would be considered a perfect pick, even though if you were to split hairs on this particular picture, 13 does look like she's slightly behind the blue player. But again, as 26 brings that blue player towards number 13, she would have enough time and space to realize that she's there, even though blue is focused on number 26. Now, if 13 just happened to show up to the party right now, okay, she meets the criteria for a bunch of illegal things. She's not in her visual plane. As you can see, she's slightly behind her. I believe her stick even is on the other side of her body. Not that that has anything to do with anything, but she doesn't give her enough time and space because blue would be, bam, right there, which would make this pick illegal. Okay? If she sets this pick and she is, as we just discussed, illegal, okay, but has no impact, no contact with the blue player, then she would fall back into the bracket of being a legal pick. Okay? Again, this would be a perfect picture of a good pick or a bad pick, depending on the timing of it. Okay, so with this slide, we have this number 2. I can't tell what number 17. This, in fact, would be a good pick. Okay, she's standing there, rather an athletic stance. Okay, she's keeping her body within a marginal stance. Her stick is not really making herself much bigger than her body. Okay, if she were to set this pick and give the allotted time and space, she would be a good pick. And then we have this child here. Okay, would you feel that she's setting a good pick? Okay, so I deem that, yes, in fact, she is a good picker. She's a little scary. Okay, not going to deny that she's a little scary, but in fact, she isn't moving into the pathway of the player. Her stick is out there just a little bit, but she's not making herself bigger and gaining an advantage. She's just scary. And I did look up scary in the rule book, couldn't find it anywhere. So she meets the criteria of a legal pick. If you look at these two pictures, definitely got that stick a little bit out to the side. So if a player were to try to go around her, we could deem her gaining an advantage by using her stick to make her bigger. You almost would have hold or detaining type call here also. And then as we have the cartoon figure on the right, this one makes her look a little more active, like maybe she stepped into the pathway. So we're going to probably be a little on alert with this if the player's making herself bigger than her actual body to gain an advantage. So, of course, movement. After establishing the pick, did the player move her elbows, legs, knees, hips, or stick to prevent the opponent from having time and space to change direction? This is some good verbiage that you can have in there when having to answer a question to a coach. So now we have some videos here that we can take a look at. I'm going to let you watch them a few times through and then let me know what you think. Okay? We try to set a pick once, but nothing really comes out of it. But as you can see, the next time the player sets a pick, okay, but if she just didn't move into it, number 21, she sets the first pick on 13. 13 doesn't even isn't even affected by it. It's not until she tries to set the second one, okay, that she decides to move into the path of the girl that she's setting the pick on. So like I said, 21 sets it, 13 doesn't even, acknowledge it, whatever, and then she sets the 1 on number 6 and moves into the pathway of her. Okay? That's the moving pick that is not legal. Let you watch it one more time. Okay, so revisiting time and space again. Okay, did the player setting the pick allow enough time and space for the opponent to stop or change? It's almost like I'm hammering these words into your head, but like literally they're the main components of this. It makes it so easy and simple to understand what's legal and what's not legal. And all you have to do seriously is turn to a coach and give those words to him or her to help them understand. Moving has nothing to do with it. It's these two words, time and space. So if in fact we don't give those two components, and if contact is made, then the pick is not legal and it must be penalized. Okay? Again, still picture. Don't really know everything that did happen. Maybe White did set a perfectly good pick right here, and 26, ran into her anyways. But we want to use this picture in the form that she did not give her the required criteria, and therefore contact was made and it was deemed an illegal pick. We have some more video here. I'm going to let you watch it. Boom. Okay. Watch it again. I know what you're all saying. I wish I could hear all of you because, like, when they make the contact, I'm sure you're all going, oh, okay? For more than one reason, actually, in this video. Okay? So you have white coming around the other side, and the girl's setting the pick. At first, she's okay. All right? But if she had just stopped herself, say, and she's coming around here, okay? If she had just settled her feet, say here, okay? Then we're good. But she decides to keep moving towards the defender. Now, either way, watching this, doesn't matter if it's a legal pick or not in your head because we're gonna nab her with a horizontal stick anyway. But I just want you to be able to see that if she just had set herself, she had so much time just to settle herself, like right here, but she keeps moving towards the blue player, thus creating an illegal pick. And a pretty good horizontal stick on the body, okay? Here it goes. Okay? This one's a pretty big one. Let's run it again. Okay, again, with this one is she's not even the attack player is still moving, so when she sets her pick, she sets it too late. So gold is still moving into set the pick. And the timing with her attack teammate was not good, okay? So as she moves up into blue, she clearly does not give enough time and space for the blue player to react. Thus ends with an epic fail on her own self going to the ground. So that gold player now that's right now at the top of the 8, they just didn't have their timing together well, and the pick never got set in time, and thus created the contact that's illegal. Okay. She probably got herself a pretty good bump on the nose on that. Okay. I hope everybody's good with that one, and we'll move along. Okay, what if a pick is set too close or out of the visual plane of the defender, but no contact is made? Do we still penalize? So if you're on the field and you're literally seeing an attack player set what would be an illegal pick, like say completely behind a player, completely out of their visual plane, do we penalize them for that? Even if the defender doesn't even know that they're there? Okay, it doesn't look right to you and you see it and you get all excited and you want to blow your whistle, but do we in fact blow our whistle on that? So of course I'm going to tell you no, because if no contact was made and it's all about contact, okay, it's there, it doesn't look right to you, but unless there's literally contact, you're not going to make that call. If the opposing team was not affected at all by the pick, then you need to move on and, know that they are setting picks. So that, if anything, is something that could put a little flag in your head to know that these teams are capable of setting picks. So you need to be on the alert for that. And remember, it's not an almost made contact. You need to have the contact made before wanting to blow a whistle on that. Even though there might be a reaction, like a player might realize that she's there and it, startles her or anything, as long as there's no contact, you're not going to make that call. And as I said before, can I stand completely and totally out of the visual field of the defense? Yes, I can. As long as when the defender just turns to make her move, she then has the time and space to choose a path to go to. It's when I don't give her the time and space and contact is made, that's when we deem that an illegal pick. Move on to things to consider. Here is a video from a game where we want to look at the pace of the game. Okay, sometimes picks might be set, sometimes they might trigger something in your mind that looks like it's illegal, whatever. But the pace of the game is so slow and nobody, gained an advantage of it. So you have to take those factors and put it in there too, the pace of the game. I want you to watch this video here and tell me if you think that this pick would be illegal. Okay, as you saw, it's going to happen like right in this area. If you feel that this is not an illegal pick, um, that's what we went with on this game, okay? Because the pace of the game, the ball's being passed around, and if you notice, the whole time number 8 has been up by the 12, okay? And the player is definitely in her visual field. Plus the pace of play would make this pick nothing that I would want to blow a whistle for. Okay, I'm gonna let you watch it again. Girls are kind of all just passing the ball around here. Okay. She's up there. She knew she was there the whole time. I'm hoping that nobody would have put a whistle on that. Okay, so that's what another form of criteria that I'd like you to put in there when you're deciding on whether to make that call or not. Stationary versus moving. This is a recap, okay? Principles of the stance, movement, time, and space apply whether the pick is stationary or moving. Visual or non-visual. These principles of stance, movement, time, and space apply whether the pick is in the visual field or out of the visual field. We have her up at the top. You see a little bit of a pick being set there, but there was no contact made. Okay? Watch it again. See it happen right around here. Okay, she sets that pick right there. Definitely gives time, space, definitely in the visual field. Also, no contact is made, so pick wasn't even really used. Okay, but it did. It did free up her teammate, if you notice. Okay, she didn't go to goal on it, but it definitely readjusted everybody's movement. She got right around her. She didn't really do anything with it, but okay, let's go to the next one. Let's see. You'll see this one over here, I believe. Yep, blue. Okay, so I'm going to have you watch right over on the far side of the 8 over here. You'll see if contact were made in this particular pick, hands down, it would have been an illegal pick. She approached her from behind, did not give her time and space. But as you can see, there was no contact made. Didn't look good, didn't like the thought of it, but White slid right off to the right of her and didn't even probably know that she was there. But again, if I saw this, then I would have that alarm in my head that like this team is setting picks. I need to be aware. I need to be ready. Here you have there's going to be a pick that's going to be set right here. Okay? I'm going to let you look at this a couple times. Ball comes around here. Oh, I'm sorry. This one kind of in slow motion, okay? Ball's going to go around the backside, and then the player, as you'll see right now, she's coming from over on the right hand side of the goal circle. She's running right through the middle. She's going to pick this girl right on top of the 8 for her teammate. Does not give her time, space. She moves into the space of the defender and makes contact, therefore freeing up her teammate. Why wouldn't she? And to the point where it dishevels the defender. I'll let you watch it one more time in fast motion. Okay. And with that being said, once that happens, so you want to position yourself so that you did in fact see that call. Okay. The lead official most likely was with the ball. C had just released it, so we're hoping that like the C and the trail will be able to pick up that call. Okay. Do players falling on the ground mean that a foul occurred? Of course, I know that all of you just answered no to that, which is good. Okay, but sometimes it does look when that happens and there's a player on the ground and you don't know how she got there, it does sometimes make you want to be able to blow your whistle because if you feel like you might have missed something. So you got these two players at the top of the 8, okay? Something dramatic is going on there, okay? At first, if you took your eye off it for a second and you saw both those players going to the ground, in fact, you probably would feel like you missed something. But in football terms, after further review of the play, okay, 3 officials on this game, and not one of them felt that this was, in fact, an illegal pick, but it was a flop. Okay? You know, you can see that the maroon player is trying to get on the inside of the white player, and whether or not there was slight contact or not, white went with it and dramatically put herself on the ground. Okay? And you got this one, okay, where I don't care if you are giving me time and space, and you're also giving me an added in my visual field, I'm still going to run you over. Hopefully, a whistle was put on this one. But this is a perfect example how the player set her stance. She said it, she was there, she gave time, she gave space. She clearly was in the visual field of the girl that just got plowed to the ground. Okay, I've got some nice streets here in Binghamton that need to be plowed in the wintertime. This girl, I think, would be able to do that just fine. Okay, umpiring the pick. What if an umpire sees a player on the ground or falling off balance and doesn't know why? What should they assume? Is the pick legal or illegal? And have you ever been in a game where you see a player flop to the ground, okay, and she lands there, and the next thing you know, this is you, okay, and you're like, So then you finally am able to make eye contact with your partner, and this is your partner, okay. So now you really kind of don't know what to do because play is still moving on, and this is the coach, okay. So just because the coach is reacting that way, and just because you might not have the complete criteria of what actually happened, I would educate you to not just blow your whistle because somebody ended up on the ground. Okay? What I would tell you to do is make sure you're on alert. Make sure that you are prepared and you're ready to be able to put the correct criteria to make the call and get it right if it were to happen again. You don't want to be in the situation. I've been in a game where we both have looked at each other and we're like, oh, snap. Did you see that? Like, oh, no, I didn't. You just know by body language that you both just missed something, okay? You're human. It's going to happen. Sometimes when you even see a pick in a game, all of a sudden you see it, an illegal one, and you're like, oh, shoot, that was an illegal pick. And then, again, you're looking at your partner and your partner's got the same look like, oh, we missed that. Okay. That's all right. You missed it. So now you've given yourself, the idea of, we got to watch that. We got to watch for that. They're setting picks. Okay. And a lot of it could all be about positioning. Okay. Good positioning will help in making and determining your call. You never know when a pick's going to be set. Okay. But if you're the trail and knowing how to move yourself and be able to see the space between players is always going to help you with making any call on the field other than picks. Keeping yourself moving and seeing the space, the distance between attack players and defenders. Vision. Were you zoomed in too tightly? Okay. How many of you have been in your games and you're just zoomed in too tight between the attack and the defender? But if you were to try to open up your visual plane and use a wider angle and see more of just the attacker and the defender, but also bring in some of the players all involved in the play, it's like looking through a small picture frame as per looking through a larger picture frame. You're only going to get just a little bit in the smaller one, but if you open up your visual field, you're going to see so much more and be able to call so much more or not call. So in the end, umpiring the pick. Okay, know the rule, apply the criteria, be in good positioning, have the right vision. Okay. I know I've gone over those 2 words. I'm not going to say them again because I know you know the 2 words that help you in officiating to make a legal or illegal pick call. But having this criteria and learning it and having it in your head going into a game is definitely going to help you be more alert to picks, because I do think that they do get missed. Because there's so many other things for us to be watching for and officiating in our game. But when you pick up your first illegal pick or see a legal pick and not call it, it does give you a bit of excitement, because it's not a call that is officiated as much as it needs to be. So again, I'm Barb Martinicchio, and this was a presentation put together, like I said, by Lissa Ficker and I, and presented at LaxCon. And if you want to reach out to me at any time, there's my email address there, and I could try to answer any of your questions. But again, I bet you any question that you ask me, I'm going to have to answer it with those 2 key words of time and space, because it really boils down to that when trying to determine legal versus illegal picks. Okay, thank you very much for sitting through this. See you on the field.